Maya, we're terminating your employment effective immediately. I stared at Victoria across her glass desk, my hand instinctively moving to my 8-month pregnant belly. The words didn't register at first. 7 years. I'd given this company 7 years of my life. I what? Why? Victoria's perfectly manicured nails tapped against a manila folder. Performance issues. Failure to meet expectations. We've documented several concerns over the past months. That was a lie. My last 3 performance reviews were exceptional. I just closed the Meridian account, worth $3.2 million annually. I'd restructured the entire operations department, saving the company hundreds of thousands. This is about my pregnancy, I said quietly. Don't be dramatic, Victoria snapped. This is business. You're simply not the right fit anymore. Lauren, Victoria's 24-year-old niece, stood by the window, barely suppressing a smile. She'd been shadowing me for 3 weeks under the guise of cross-training. Now I understand why. Lauren will be assuming your responsibilities, Victoria continued, sliding the termination papers toward me. She's eager to grow into a leadership role. My throat tightened. She has no experience. She doesn't even understand our basic systems. She'll learn. She's family. There it was. The real reason. I was being erased so Victoria could install her incompetent niece in a 6-figure position I'd earned through years of grueling work. This is illegal, I managed. You can't fire someone for being pregnant. Victoria's smile was ice. Read the paperwork, Maya. We're citing performance issues, not your personal situation. You're welcome to consult an attorney, but I assure you, everything is airtight. You'll receive 2 weeks severance. Sign here. Lauren giggled. Actually giggled. My hands shook as I looked at the papers, but I refused to let them see me cry. Honestly, Maya, you should be grateful, Victoria said, leaning back in her leather chair. You're about to have a baby. Don't you want to stay home? Focus on being a mom. The condescension dripped from every word. I've watched you waddle around this office for months, she continued. It's been uncomfortable for everyone. You're clearly exhausted. This is actually a kindness. Lauren snorted. Plus, you know, things change. The company needs fresh energy. Someone who can actually commit long-term without, like, constant maternity leaves and baby emergencies. She was talking about one maternity leave. One. As if taking time to birth a human was an inconvenience to her aunt's bottom line. You'll find something eventually, Victoria added, her tone dismissive. Maybe something less demanding. Part-time, perhaps. Something less demanding. As if I hadn't built this department from nothing. Security will escort you out, Victoria said, pressing her desk phone. You have 30 minutes to collect your belongings. You're not serious. Company policy. Can't be too careful. Her smile was venomous. 2 security guards appeared at the door. Marcus, who I'd worked with for 5 years, couldn't meet my eyes. The walk through the office was humiliating. Coworkers stared. Some whispered. My assistant Jessica started crying at her desk. I wanted to tell her it was okay, but the guards rushed me along. At my office, I packed 7 years into 2 boxes. Photos of my team winning awards. Certificates of achievement. The personalized coffee mug that said, World's Best Manager from last year's Secret Santa. Lauren appeared in my doorway. Don't forget to leave your access badge and laptop. I placed them on the desk without a word. I sat in my car in the parking garage for 20 minutes, shaking. Then the shock wore off, and my mind started working again. 7 years. I knew everything about that company. Every system, every process, every password. I'd built the entire operational infrastructure from scratch when I was hired. Victoria had made a critical mistake. She fired me, but she hadn't thought about what I knew. I designed the client management database. I'd created the vendor relationship protocols. I'd implemented the financial tracking systems. I'd written the disaster recovery procedures. More importantly, I had access to everything. Every confidential file. Every contract. Every email. Every questionable decision Victoria had made and tried to hide. And I had copies. Years of encrypted backups on personal hard drives created when I'd been paranoid about data loss. 3 years ago, after a server crash nearly destroyed 6 months of work, I'd implemented my own backup protocol. Every week, I'd encrypted and downloaded critical company data to secure drives at home. It was supposed to be for disaster recovery, a safety net in case corporate IT failed again. I told Victoria about it. She praised my initiative. Now, sitting at my kitchen table, I opened those drives. Thousands of files, client contracts, financial statements, internal memos, email chains going back 5 years. And there, buried in Victoria's correspondence, irregularities, payments to shell companies, manipulated quarterly reports, a trail of financial misconduct I'd never noticed because I'd trusted her. My former boss wasn't just cruel. She was a criminal. I sat back, my hand on my belly, feeling my daughter kick. Victoria wanted to ruin me. She had no idea what she just unleashed. I spent 3 days reviewing everything. Not in anger and strategy. Rage was useless. Precision was power. Victoria had made this personal. But I would make it professional. Calculated. Devastating. I had 4 weeks until my due date. 4 weeks to dismantle everything she built on my back. First, I needed leverage and a new position. I couldn't execute this unemployed and desperate. I needed to be untouchable. Second, I needed to extract maximum damage while staying completely legal. No hacking. No illegal access. Everything I had, I'd obtain legitimately as an employee. Everything I'd do would be above board. Third, I needed to ensure Victoria couldn't retaliate or rebuild. I created a spreadsheet, a timeline, a tactical plan with specific milestones. Victoria thought I was just a pregnant woman she could discard. She was about to learn exactly what I was capable of. Titan Corp had been trying to poach me for 2 years. Their CEO, Marcus Reed, had taken me to lunch 3 times, each time offering more money, better benefits, more autonomy. Each time I declined. I'd been loyal to Victoria. Stupidly loyal. Now I called Marcus. Maya, he answered warmly. This is a pleasant surprise. Are you still looking for a senior VP of operations? Silence. Then, absolutely. What changed? I'm available. But I have conditions. Name them. Remote work. Full maternity leave. 12 weeks paid. Flexibility for childcare. Executive compensation package. Start date after I give birth. Done. What else? I have extensive knowledge of Sterling Industries operations, Victoria's company, client relationships, system vulnerabilities, strategic weaknesses. Another pause. Are we talking about proprietary information? We're talking about information I created and have every legal right to share as industry knowledge. Nothing illegal, but very, very valuable. I'm listening. Marcus flew to my city the next day. We met at a hotel restaurant, away from prying eyes. Sterling is our biggest competitor, he said, sliding a folder across the table. If you can help us capture even 20% of their market share, you'll have earned your salary for the next 5 years. I opened the folder. The offer was stunning. $240,000 base salary, performance bonuses, stock options, full benefits, and a $100,000 signing bonus. If I can provide strategic intelligence that leads to acquiring Sterling's major clients, I want an additional performance bonus. $200,000. Marcus didn't flinch. If you deliver that level of damage, you'll have earned it. What do you need from us? Legal protection. Everything I do needs to be vetted by your attorneys. I'm not risking my reputation or my daughter's future. Agreed. And discretion. Victoria can't know I'm working for you until it's too late. He extended his hand. Welcome to Titan Corp, Maya. That night, I accessed Sterling Industries systems remotely using my personal laptop and credentials that hadn't been deactivated yet. Victoria's IT incompetence was showing. I worked methodically. Client databases, financial records, vendor contracts, strategic plans, email archives. I downloaded everything to encrypted drives. 5 years of company intelligence. Pricing strategies, profit margins, client pain points. Every competitive advantage Sterling had, I copied it all. At 2 a.m., I finally logged out and deactivated my own access, covering my tracks. By morning, I would think I'd never been there. I cross-referenced everything with public records. Client relationships I'd personally built, industry contacts I'd maintained, market intelligence I'd gathered. I packaged it all for Titan Corp's strategic team, a complete roadmap to destroy Sterling Industries. But I saved the best file for last. Victoria's private financial records and emails. The evidence of her crimes. The embezzlement was elegant. Small vendor payments, slightly inflated. Consulting fees to shell companies Victoria controlled. Expense reports with personal purchases buried among business costs. Over 4 years, she'd stolen approximately $2 million. She'd also manipulated quarterly reports, inflating revenue numbers by reclassifying expenses, delaying loss recognition, and using creative accounting that violated SEC regulations. There were emails discussing it. Victoria and the CFO coordinating the deception, joking about massaging the numbers and keeping investors happy. It was a fraud. Clear, documented, prosecutable fraud. I sat with this information for 2 days, considering my options. I could release it immediately, but that would be reactive. Emotional. No, this was my nuclear option. I'd save it for maximum impact. First, I'd take her clients, then her reputation, then her freedom. While I plotted, Lauren was imploding spectacularly. Jessica, my former assistant who'd become a secret ally, sent me daily updates. Week 1, Lauren had deleted an entire client database by clicking the wrong button. IT restored it, but 3 days of data entry was lost. Week 2, she'd sent a confidential pricing proposal to the wrong client, exposing Sterling's margins to a competitor. Week 3, she'd missed a critical deadline for the Meridian account, my account, resulting in a $50,000 penalty clause. Clients were calling constantly. "Where's Maya?" they asked. "Who is this person? She doesn't understand our needs." Victoria was reportedly screaming at Lauren daily, but family loyalty meant she couldn't fire her niece without admitting her terrible mistake. I watched the chaos from my living room, monitoring industry message boards and LinkedIn. Sterling's reputation was developing cracks. Perfect! I prepared 2 packages, identical contents, printed documents, flash drives, detailed cover letters explaining the evidence. The first went to the Securities and Exchange Commission. The second went to the Internal Revenue Service. Both were sent from anonymous P.O. boxes in different cities, impossible to trace. The cover letters meticulously outlined Victoria's financial crimes, complete with document references, dates, and specific statute violations. I'd spent days ensuring every piece of evidence was admissible and damning. Bank records, email printouts, expense reports with personal purchases highlighted, tax documents showing unreported income. The SEC and IRS took financial crime seriously, especially with this level of documentation. They'd investigate, they'd audit, they'd dig, and they'd find everything. I mailed the packages on a Monday morning and waited. I'd built relationships with Sterling's top 15 clients over 7 years. I knew their businesses intimately, their challenges, their goals, their frustrations. Now, I leveraged those relationships. I called Daniel Chun at Meridian first. "Daniel, it's Maya Chun. I wanted to give you a heads up. I'm no longer with Sterling Industries." "Maya, we've been trying to reach you. What happened?" "Personal decision. I'm now with Titan Corp, a senior VP. I wanted to reach out personally because I value our relationship. You have no idea how badly things have deteriorated," he said. "This new person, Lauren, she's a disaster. She doesn't understand our account at all. I heard there were some issues with the last deliverable." "Issues? She cost us $50,000 in penalties. I'm seriously considering other options." "Well, Titan would love to earn your business. I could personally oversee the transition." 20 minutes later, Meridian was drafting termination letters to Sterling. I made 4 more calls that week. For more clients who were frustrated, undervalued, and ready to leave. All of them followed me to Titan Corp. My phone rang at 8 p.m. on a Thursday. "Victoria, what the hell did you do?" she screamed before I could say hello. "I'm sorry. Meridian, Tech Forward, Quantum Systems, they're all leaving. 5 accounts in 1 week. This is you, isn't it?" "I don't know what you mean, Victoria." I simply informed former colleagues of my new position. "You stole my clients." "Your clients?" "I built those relationships over 7 years. They're following me, not the company. That's not illegal. You signed a non-compete. I smiled. She couldn't see it, but I smiled. Actually, I didn't. Remember? You removed the non-compete clause from my contract 3 years ago during that negotiation. Check your files. Silence. She'd forgotten. We're hemorrhaging revenue because of you, she hissed. I'll bury you in legal fees. Try it. Every action I've taken is completely legal. Clients have a right to choose their vendors. I'll pay you, Victoria said suddenly, her voice changing. Consultant fees. Fix this mess. Lauren she needs more training. I need you to come back temporarily. This was delicious. She was begging. That would be quite expensive, I said carefully. Name your price. $500,000. Paid up front. A public statement apologizing for my wrongful termination and acknowledging my contributions. And Lauren's immediate termination. You're insane. Those are my terms. I'll never pay you $500,000, and I certainly won't fire Lauren. You're an extortionist. No, Victoria. I'm a highly skilled professional who knows her worth. You threw me away. These are the consequences. Enjoy solving your problems alone. You vindictive. I hung up. My hands were shaking, but this time from satisfaction, not fear. 2 hours later, she called back. I didn't answer. 3 weeks after mailing the packages, the news broke. Sterling Industries under federal investigation for financial irregularities, the headline read. Jessica texted me. SEC agents just showed up with boxes. Victoria is freaking out. They're seizing computers and files. The investigation was public now. IRS auditors, SEC investigators, armed with warrants and very specific questions about vendor payments, expense reports, and financial statements. Victoria had to know someone had reported her. But who? Dozens of employees had access to financial information. The CFO was also under investigation, so he couldn't be trusted. She'd never suspect the pregnant woman she'd discarded. I watched the stock price drop. Investors panicked. The board of directors released a statement. We take these allegations seriously and are cooperating fully with investigators. Sterling Industries was in free fall and I'd barely begun. My daughter arrived 3 days later. 7 pounds, 4 ounces. Perfect. I named her Elena, after my grandmother. From my hospital bed, I monitored news alerts on my phone between feedings. Victoria's company was collapsing in real time, and I was watching it happen while holding my newborn. Marcus sent flowers and a note. Congratulations. Take all the time you need. We've acquired 3 more Sterling accounts this week. My mother, visiting from Seattle, noticed me smiling at my phone. What's so funny? Nothing, Mom. Just work stuff. You should be resting, not checking work emails. I am resting. This is very relaxing. Elena yawned in my arms, completely unaware that her mother was dismantling a corporate empire from a maternity ward. Victoria had tried to punish me for becoming a mother. Instead, motherhood was my shield while I destroyed her. The call came 2 weeks after Elena's birth. Victoria's voice was strangled, barely controlled. You're working for Titan Corporation. Yes. I accepted a position there. It's not a secret. You've been sabotaging me from the beginning. The clients, the investigation, all of it was you. The investigation? Victoria, are you accusing me of reporting your financial crimes? Because that would imply you committed financial crimes. You had no right. I had every right. You fired me illegally. You humiliated me. You stole 7 years of my life and replaced me with your incompetent niece. Did you think there wouldn't be consequences? I'll sue you for everything. My lawyer had prepared me for this. On what grounds? Client relationships aren't proprietary. Industry knowledge isn't theft. And if you're suggesting I reported criminal activity, that's called whistleblowing. It's protected by law. You destroyed my company. No, Victoria. You destroyed your company. I just stopped protecting you. Over the next month, Sterling Industries imploded. 3 board members resigned. The CFO was indicted for securities fraud. Investors filed a class action lawsuit. The company's valuation dropped 67%. Lauren quit after clients refused to work with her. She posted a tearful video on social media about toxic work culture and being set up to fail, without a trace of self-awareness. Banks froze Sterling's lines of credit pending investigation outcomes. Vendors demanded payment upfront, not trusting the company's financial stability. Employee resignations accelerated. People didn't want Sterling Industries on their resumes anymore. Titan Corp, meanwhile, announced record quarterly revenue thanks to our aggressive client acquisition, much of it from Sterling. Marcus promoted me to executive vice president with another raise. I delivered exactly what I promised. I'd taken 20% of Sterling's market share. Actually, I'd taken 35%. Victoria had created a monster. She just hadn't realized it until too late. A business journalist named Amanda Reeves contacted me through LinkedIn. Ms. Chun, I'm writing a piece about Sterling Industries' collapse. Multiple sources suggest you were terminated shortly before founding clients began leaving. Would you be willing to comment? I hesitated. Going public was risky. But then I thought, why hide? I'd done nothing wrong. I agreed to an interview. Amanda published the story 3 days later. Pregnant executive fired, replaced by boss's niece. Then she took down the entire company. It was fair, factual, and devastating. She included Victoria's quotes about me being dramatic and needing to focus on being a mom. She detailed Lauren's incompetence. She outlined the timeline of client departures and federal investigations. She painted me as a wronged worker who'd simply leveraged her expertise and relationships legally. The story went viral. 2 million views in 24 hours. Then 5 million. Reddit threads exploded. TikTok creators made reaction videos. LinkedIn was flooded with commentary. Public opinion was unanimous. I was the hero. Victoria was the villain. My inbox overflowed. Thousands of messages from women who'd experienced pregnancy discrimination. Former employees sharing their own Victoria horror stories. Job offers from competitors. Speaking invitations from business conferences. You're an inspiration, one email read. I was fired for being pregnant too. Seeing you gives me hope. Law firms contacted me, offering to represent other Sterling employees in wrongful termination suits. Apparently, Victoria had a pattern. A congressman tweeted about my case, calling for stronger pregnancy discrimination protections. But the most satisfying message came from Marcus Chun at Meridian. Maya, I just want you to know, we didn't follow you to Titan because you were the account manager. We followed you because you're brilliant. Sterling lost more than clients when they lost you. They lost their integrity. 3 more Sterling employees resigned and joined Titan Corporation. They wanted to work for me. Victoria's company wasn't just failing financially. It was bleeding talent. My attorney, Rebecca Walsh, filed a wrongful termination lawsuit 4 weeks after Elena's birth. We have an airtight case, she said. Pregnancy discrimination, retaliation, hostile work environment. The public documentation of their reasoning makes this almost impossible for them to defend. We demanded $1.2 million, lost wages, emotional distress, punitive damages. Sterling's attorneys initially scoffed. We'll fight this to the ground. Your client signed termination papers. Then the media coverage intensified. Then public opinion turned completely against Victoria. Then more former employees came forward with similar stories. Sterling's attorneys came back with a settlement offer, $800,000 and a non-disclosure agreement. Counteroffer, Rebecca said. $1.2 million and no NDA. They don't get to hide this. They'll never agree. 2 days later, they agreed. Victoria didn't want a trial. She couldn't afford more bad publicity. The company was already dying. A public trial would finish it. She paid me $1.2 million to go away. But I didn't sign an NDA, which meant I could tell my story freely. 6 months after my termination, Sterling Industries filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Victoria was indicted on 4 counts of securities fraud, 2 counts of tax evasion, and 1 count of embezzlement. Her trial date was set for the following year, but her attorneys were already negotiating a plea deal. She faced up to 15 years in federal prison. Lauren, her precious niece, was working retail at a mall. No company would hire her after the publicity disaster. Her LinkedIn profile was flooded with criticism. The Sterling Industries office building was empty, listed for lease. 70 employees had lost their jobs. I felt bad for them. They'd done nothing wrong. But I didn't feel bad for Victoria. She thought she could discard me like trash. Instead, She discarded the one person holding her empire together. The day the bankruptcy filing was announced, Victoria called me one final time. "Are you happy now?" she whispered. "Honestly, yes, I am. I gave you a job. I gave you opportunities. You gave me nothing I didn't earn. And then you took it all away for no reason except cruelty. This is justice, Victoria." She was crying now. "I'm going to prison. You're going to prison because you're a criminal, not because of me." I hung up and blocked her number permanently. Elena is 6 months old now. She's smiling, laughing, learning to sit up. I work from a home office Titan Corp helped me design. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking a garden. Top-of-the-line equipment. Flexible hours that let me be present for my daughter. I'm thriving professionally. My team has grown to 45 people. We've doubled Titan's market share in 18 months. Marcus just made me Chief Operating Officer. The settlement money is invested for Elena's future. College fund. Trust fund. Security. Sometimes former Sterling employees reach out, asking how I did it. How I went from fired and humiliated to powerful and vindicated. The answer is simple. I knew my worth. I refused to be diminished. And when someone tried to destroy me, I didn't just survive, I strategically dismantled everything they built on my back. Victoria thought pregnancy made me weak and disposable. Instead, it made me unstoppable. I look at Elena sleeping peacefully in her crib and I smile. This is what winning looks like. Not revenge, justice. Not anger, empowerment. Not survival, triumph. Victoria tried to end my career because I was becoming a mother. Instead, I became a mother while ending her career. And I'd do it again.